So the first thing we're gonna do when we arrive, and by the way, thank you for renting. Let's go ahead and open the door here, and you will find terms of service for you to review. And on the very last page is something for your signature. Once you complete that, you can go ahead and take terms of service, and we're gonna walk behind the van into this courtyard, and we're gonna go up the steps, and we're looking for apartment 301. It's gonna be right here, 301, and then you can go ahead and down in here, just open that up, and you can put the terms of service in there, and then in here you will find your key. Here is your Freebird. As you arrive, you can see here where we are. Across the street is Lighthouse Coffee. We are on 43rd Street and parked right here. Welcome. Here is your Freebird. As you arrive, you can see here where we are. Across the street is Lighthouse Coffee. We are on 43rd Street and parked right here in front of next to this apartment building. So the first thing we're gonna do when we arrive, and by the way, thank you for renting. Let's go ahead and open the door here, and you will find terms of service for you to review. And on the very last page is something for your signature. Once you complete that, you can go ahead and take terms of service, and we're gonna walk behind the van into this courtyard, and we're gonna go up the steps, and we're looking for apartment 301. It's gonna be right here, 301, and then you can go ahead and down in here, just open that up, and you can put the terms of service in there, and then in here you will find your key. On top, we have a roof rack. In here, you'll find camp chairs. To access this, you'll go ahead and put in the key, unlock, and then pull this down, which will give you access to the box. When you are done, there are 3 latches, 1 in the middle and 2 on either side, and all 3 needs to be locked and latched in order for this to go into the lock position to return your key. In the front, when you are not driving, please make sure you engage the emergency brake, even on a flat surface, at all times when parked. Please go ahead and set that brake. Also, down here you can see there is a USB port, and if you have an iPhone, it will give you the Apple display up here. Otherwise, you can connect to the car audio via Bluetooth. You have everything you need for your cruise control here: on, off, cancel, accelerate and coast. However, be mindful, this is not adaptive cruise control, so you will need to make sure to brake if that is something that you are used to. You flip the tab up when you would like to secure the vehicle. I also want to show you a feature of these windows on the sliding doors on each side. Here you have a little middle tab, and when it's down, it'll allow you to open the window. You can push just the screen if you'd like, and also go all the way open. Either way, it's important to keep in mind that if you leave the van and you leave this down, it is quite easy to slide these windows from the outside. A couple more things to show you inside the van here. You have this switch, and this controls your fan and your lights. You can operate the lights on a dimmer switch here all the way to off. And you can also run this fan just by pushing that button. And to turn the lights and the fan off, go ahead and flip that switch. Here we are at the back of the van, and I'm going to show you the kitchen. To use the kitchen, and we're just going to go ahead and open up the doors here. These doors can open and they will latch at parallel to with the van's going. You can also continue to open it by unlatching here, and it will continue to go out all the way to a right angle. To open the other side, there is a latch down here. And again, you have this option here, if you like, to open it. You can see what that looks like. So back here we have our kitchen. I'll show you quickly here. You have this unit, which is where you will turn the refrigerator on. This up with the blue light on indicates that the fridge is on. You also have two USB ports here, and your battery level. If your battery is getting down to maybe 11.2 and you haven't run the van in a while, do go ahead and run that or connect to shore power. Back here, the refrigerator, and this opens with just a little latch here, and here you have some fine temperature control. And again, I would say this does not need to be on until you have something to put into it. Down here we have the top drawer here, which includes the stove. You have a little metal tab that will prevent the drawer from being pushed back in, and it is safe to cook like this. However, either if it's in this configuration, go ahead and just flip that over, or if it was in the other configuration, it does leave a good amount of space away from the cushion while you're cooking. To use this, just go ahead and open this up, and you'll take a fuel canister, remove the top, and you can see here there is a little metal tab, and what you're going to do is just line that up with this little tab here. If you can see that here. And so this just lines up, and you just want to push it in firmly, and once it's seated and you don't hear any gas coming out, you are good to go. To turn it on, there's a little knob here, and you can actually take this and pick it up. And if you'd like to use this at, say, a picnic table or a campground, that is an option for you too. So you can see here you have the dial here. So to turn it on, you would just go all the way to the left, and there is a click, and then you can go ahead and back it off to whatever flame control level you like. And you can go ahead and back it off, and you can adjust accordingly. When you're done, let's pull that back out and turn the cap. Do make sure to take the fuel out before stowing the stove to ensure that it is off before going back into the drawer. And to return this back, you just want to push that over, and it will slide. Okay, so we've got everything over here to show you this side here, and this is your other bar that will seat down. You can go ahead and take your largest cushion and push that over. Then we will take the table, and this will sit between our two benches on those metal bars that we lowered. You can see here there are these little tabs right here. You just go ahead and push the table up against there, and then we'll come down here for that board I was showing you before, and this will come across and finish our support. And again, there's some tabs you can see to line that up. At this point, we'll take our narrow cushions and put those in between. And there you have the bed. Go ahead and take your fitted sheet and cover all the cushions, and you are set to go. I also advise keeping it in this configuration for when you are traveling. And you can see here, at any time you have some underneath storage and your bed. So what we're going to do with the legs is take these, and in front of the bench you can see in this little crevice there is, and I'll move this out of the way, a rack here. These 2 plywood pieces are custom made to hold your table legs. So we'll go ahead and put those in there. And then also, while we're back here, I'll show you, this is where you'll find the mallet and the bag for everything you need for the awning. Also, we have a power outlet, and to use this, you're just gonna go ahead and turn it on. You'll see the green light up. Do keep in mind that this will drain your auxiliary battery even when nothing is plugged in, so be sure to turn this off when not using it. And I would also recommend only using it for maybe an hour or 2 if the van is not moving and you're not recharging your auxiliary battery. Okay, so I'm turning that off, and we'll get back to the bed. And I'm just gonna go ahead and move everything over to this side to free it. And we're just going to slide it off here for now. The legs unscrew. And I'll show you here that you want to back this off when you're done. And then if you were going to put this back, you can see here, there is 3 little tabs that correspond with the floor. Go ahead and just lightly spin it until you see those tabs seat, and then give it one more turn. And then you'll take this black knob here, and this is why we backed it off, so you can go ahead and tighten it down. And then again, when you take this off, just to unscrew it, you can, and again, back this off. So we're gonna take out the other leg. Next thing we're gonna do is move these cushions over to this side as well. And you can see here, there's this bar. This is what is supporting the backrest. This bar will slide over this front cushion here. And also, I'll show you underneath, this is where you'll find all your poorly folded yet very clean linens. There is a fitted sheet, a comforter, blanket, and pillows, everything you need for bedtime. Also, quickly in here is just the battery, nothing concerning. In case you're curious what that is, there it is. Okay, back to the bed. So what we're going to do is put this bar over the cushion, and you see there's these little feet here, or stoppers, that will hold this in place. I'll also point out down here, there's a fire extinguisher. Also, there is this board here which magnetically connects to the bench, and that is secured for when you are in this configuration. Okay, let's make this thing into a bed. First thing we want to do is take the table off. Here you can see there are 2 legs, as I showed you before. If you lift one, it will tend to buckle, so you want to give even pressure as you lift it. And I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little tap in the middle, and that should be enough to free it up. Here I'm going to show you some things in the interior of the van, and I'm also going to show you how to convert this into a bed. So here you can see we have the van in lounge or dining mode. The table can face the cup holders out or in, it's up to you. You can see they're supported by these 2 table legs that go into the ground. More on that in a second. In the bench modes here, in this configuration of the van, you'll see there are 2 cushions up front. These are the shorter 2. There's one narrow and one wide here. The wide one sits on the bench, and this one will stay here always, and then the narrow one is the backrest. On here, it's the opposite. You can see the wider one is the backrest, and then the narrow is the seat for the rear. And these are the two longer cushions. When this is in the configuration for a bed, this will actually be farthest. The widest cushion will be closest to the door. And I'll show you that in a second as well. When you're in this configuration, it's good to pull the seats up a little bit. On the side of the van, the passenger side, you have the awning here, and I'm going to show you how this works. Start by, I'm going to unlatch this, and then you can see here there is a top and a bottom that will expose the zipper down here, and we're just going to follow this all the way along and around a little notch and up. Here you'll see there is 3 Velcro straps covering the awning. We're gonna go ahead and take those off. And you can see here, have a top that goes over the top of the awning. It can, as you'll see when we put it away, get stuck behind there. And if that happens, you just gotta kind of put your finger in there to pop that out. And then you're gonna see it draped down here. Under here you have these support beams that are magnetically connected to the rack, and you can just unclip them and let go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the top one here, which is the farmost end. We're just gonna pull it out. And as you can see, the bat wing will start to form. So you can give you an overhead perspective here. And it will take you all the way around to the side of the van. Here, there's a telescoping pole. It'll come down. And it secures with a tightening of that clockwise. And then behind the seat, you'll have this bag here, and then there will be this mallet. In the bag, you'll have these orange strings, and then there is stakes. I've already gone ahead and drilled the stake in pretty deeply to give you a sense of what you start out with. This is the stake, standing about this tall. You can see here I've put it pretty far in. You want to be mindful of walking around at night and not having this stack out very far as to create a tripping hazard or something to cut your foot. Something to keep in mind. So starting on this far end, you have this little hook here. And this just goes right into this little eyelet. And then I've kind of come at an angle here. And I'm just gonna come underneath onto my stake. And then you wanna kind of get tension pulling this direction as much as you can. Now you can see I've connected all the supports except for the first one that we set up initially. So I'm gonna come over here and then just pull on this upwards to release the bite. That will release, and then I'm gonna take the S-hook out, and I will go ahead and get this last support into the buckle. Then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna walk it back, keeping our first one here on top as we come around to collect each of the supports. And get this last one here and coming all the way back. Again, show you here these 4 corresponding Magnets connect to here. We have the 4 supports. So you just want to lift it together, and I'll do my best to show you here. You can see I'm just gonna push all 4 of them together, and if they kind of miss, they'll fall off, and I'll just try again until there I have it seated. Now, this is a very important step here, and I've gone ahead and given some guidance on where to make your first fold. So this is fold number 1. You might be tempted to just pie it up into smaller and smaller wedges. Please do not do that, because it will create a bulge there. So the first fold we want to make is across. So we line up fold number 2. And then we're going to come up on fold number 2. Now we have fold number 3. And you can see we're back to where. So I'm gonna fish out that top buckle here. And it did manage to get stuck when I put the supports back onto the connector up front. So now I have down here the strap. I'll lift everything up. And going through slot here. Just kind of work it as best we can. And it will probably look nicer with you using 2 hands. Again, I'm going to take my strap, running it through. And when you want to bunch it up and be mindful of your zipper. And then this will sometimes, your cover will also have a tendency to get stuck behind the awning. Okay, so we've got the cover over the awning. Everything's untucked from behind. And we've got each strap bundling up the awning as best we can. And to zip it, we're just gonna come from the front, come straight down. The turn can be a little tricky. Sometimes you have to hold it, as I did there, to kind of create tension as you make that corner. And then just follow along. And then if you have any bunching, just do your best to kind of pinch the zipper together as you pull it closed. And if you find yourself fighting it, and it's definitely really challenging to close the zipper, best thing to do is to go back and refold the awning and not try to force it, because it will, unfortunately, because it can tear. And then the zipper will finally come here, and on this side you'll take the bottom flap, and that will go up, top flap will come down, and finally the end will wrap around and Velcro securely on, and the awning is stowed and ready to drive. When you're putting everything away with the stakes and the cordage, if you do find yourself tying any knots in any of the cordage, please make sure that's untied before you put it away. Underneath the stove, you have a drawer with a pan, a couple plates, and a collapsible wash basin for your dishes. Please clean any dishes that you do use before returning the van. On the other side, have everything else that we potentially need for cooking. There's a small coffee setup here, soap and a sponge. You have a little bit of food storage and cooking utensils eating utensils, a bowl, a couple bowls, and a pot. And then lastly, on top here, we have a cutting board. And that is your kitchen.